2026, and I am getting ready to glue some stuff and then paint some stuff. So basically, I'm doing what I do. Um, what I'm gluing and painting today are these. I think they're called ogrelons in D&D. Ogrelon, the four-armed apes. I have need of them because, as I've said already, ape-type creatures are kind of a common monster type in Hyperborea. And while I'm not trying to, convince everyone or anyone that they should play Hyperborea, I will say that, man, I've had a lot of fun playing Hyperborea. I mean, just, but I mean, a lot of that could just be my group too. Let's see now. I should have six of these, right? One, two, three, four, five. Maybe I only got five. I did paint one of them. And by paint, I mean I put a base coat on it. But I base coated him like a dark brown. And then I'm going to go back and hit him up with some highlights to try to get him to kind of look like an ape. But, all right. Come on now. Come on now, Blue. Come on. My wife and sister in law are in there plotting what to do for me for my birthday, which is coming up. And I honestly almost forgot my birthday was coming up. It was like, I kind of thought about it for a second and then didn't because I don't know, it's just not that big of a deal to me. Now, my wife's birthday is a huge deal around here. I go all out. But my birthday, they're like, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I don't know, go down to the local sports bar and eat a club salad or something. I mean, I am a man of simple taste, guys. That is a fact. Simple tastes. I like a good Cobb salad. I like building miniatures and playing games. And I like my wife and my dog. And that's pretty much, you know, the main important things, right? You know, but yeah, I've been running Hyperborea, man. And my brother, it's the things that some of my players do. My brother, of course, being one, that actually makes this game really fun. I have a couple players at my table. They're not disruptive. They're not the disruptive players that, a DM might not like at their table, but they are kind of hilarious, like they just do things. And some of the things they do, okay, first off, all of the things they do make sense in regards to, their character and whatever. So they're not just being clowns, right? But, but it's like, I mean, what do you do about a guy who decides he's going to spend two spell slots a day just so he can curse another guy in the group to be impotent for like 4 hours a night? That's like really? I mean, oh, okay. I mean, right? And then the Amazon, who may or may not be a lesbian and is super flirty with men and women. So maybe she's not a lesbian. She might be bisexual. Who knows? Who knows? She's an Amazon. So she's, like Wonder Woman, imagine, big, you know, burly, muscular chick. Because in their culture, for some reason, the women tend to be like the muscular. Uh, I mean, they're still like a dimorphically different group, like other humans, except they're reversed. So the men tend to be shorter and not quite as muscular, and the women tend to be taller and put on more muscle mass, um, which to me is, that's interesting. And they're a Hellenic culture, so uh, that makes sense. Basically, there's a lot of. I'll tell you what, Hyperborea. The more I've played it, the more I've like come to realize that there are a lot of Hellenistic things. Like, let me see, the Cimmerians use a Hellenistic alphabet, even though the language is different. The Atlanteans use a Hellenistic alphabet. So basically, we're talking Greek. And then the Greeks use the Hellenistic alphabet. The Amazon use a Hellenistic alphabet. I mean, it's like about a quarter of all the humans on the whole continent use the Greek alphabet. So, it's maybe most DMs wouldn't care about that sort of thing, but I do because I'm all like a history nerd deep down in my heart, and I love the idea of all the ancient cultures and everything. Now, if I were to ever be a player in a game, say I went to a convention and there was a game there where somebody was running Hyperborea, I would 100% make a fighter, and I would probably make it Latin, Byzantine, or if I really wanted to be weird, make a human fighter and make him a Kurgan. You know what I mean? That would be an interesting character. Like make him 6.5 feet tall, just max strength that I could put there, whatever my highest roll was, and then just be all like, you know, be the Kurgan. I wonder if I can find a miniature in 32 mil for the Kurgan, because that would be cool, you know. Uh, Drama with one of my brothers. Of course, like I said, I've got like five of them. So, first thing I log on to my Facebook and somebody's saying, this guy forced himself on a woman. Let's make him go viral. And I'm like, but did he? Really? I mean, because I'll tell you what, I don't play that Me Too bullshit. If now that don't make me pro, essayers. I think they should go to jail, but not just on the word of someone, especially a dude. A dude saying this. And so I got a message, and it's like, yeah, she's going reporting. And this is a horrible thing to think, but the first thing that goes through my mind is it this guy's girlfriend and she got caught banging this other dude, so she's gonna say, oh, he forced me? Because that kind of stuff does in fact happen. A woman went to prison in England a couple of years ago for that exact thing. So it's like, I don't know. Or maybe I'm just an asshole. That's a possibility too. Maybe I'm just an asshole and I'm not a very trusting person. And if someone's going to make an accusation against somebody, I want to see some damn evidence. I want to know what happened and when and how, and before I'm jumping on any bandwagon and casting any just aspersions towards another person. I want to know what are we talking about here, right? Because I know I would sure hate it if someone woke up one day and decided to just start talking that kind of. I mean, that's some serious stuff there, man. And while there's a lot of rapists who are in prison and deserve to be run through a wood chipper, in my opinion, there's probably a lot of them in there who didn't do a damn thing. But because of the way the system is with, oh, well, you got accused of it, so obviously you did it. It's like, nah, nah. I'm just not down with that sort of stuff. I know this is some pretty deep combo for a game channel, but yeah, I'm just not down with it. But now back to more fun stuff though. Yeah, Hyperborea has been pure hilarity. I mean, the characters are playing like the weirdest characters you can think of because of the nature of Hyperborea. Janet from another planet. Hello, ma'am. It is a pleasure to see you. Long time. Well, a long time since I've talked to you. Not a long time since I saw you. I watched your video the other day. Whenever I'm on Discord and I'm laying around not doing anything and I see you're on, I generally watch your video. I'm kind of a creeper though. Like, I don't talk a lot. So I need to stop that. I need to start making sure I say, hi, Janet. I'm watching your video. Thumbs up. I do thumbs up though, because all the people I know that I'm cool with, if I watch their video, they automatically get the thumbs up. Automatic. I had to get on some people the other day because I was watching Shadow's video, and there was one thumbs up on the video, and he had 5 people in the panel. And I'm like, come on, guys, you're in the panel actually talking about having a conversation, and you can't do a thumbs up. I mean, it's like, oh man, help your bro out. So, but it's good to see you, Janet. I hope you're doing very well. I had Bruce hang out with me yesterday and or day before, and that was a lot of fun. That's always fun. I love hanging out with Bruce. Bruce is just a fun guy to hang out with, and I don't mean a fun guy. He's a fun guy. But I was talking about our Hyperborea game and how it's funny. I mean, Janet, you being a lady, I know you have slightly different outlooks than I do on things. So there's characters in my game, right? 2 guys. And one of them's married to this witch named Agnes. And the other one is kind of pissed off that the first one, the Atlantean, is married to the witch. So the second one, which is Haas's character, a Hyperborean cleric, has decided to expend 2 spell slots, second level spell slots, every day when the Atlantean and Agnes go to bed to make the Atlantean impotent for 5 hours. Personally, I think it's hilarious, even though I'm not looking forward to having to explain to, one of the players at the table how their character is impotent. But I kind of respect the pettiness, you know what I mean? And the whole reason for it is racism, which makes it even kind of funnier because Agnes the Witch is a Hyperborean. The cleric, whose name is like Zanzar Dal Zol, is a Hyperborean. And then the Atlantean, right? And Hyperboreans are like Elric of Melno Bene. They pretty much think every other human is like beneath them because they're 7 foot tall, super pale skin with purple eyes and bone white hair and freaking, so they're Elric of Melno Bene is what they are, right? And yeah, so it's weird. Yeah, but the thing is, this is for real though. This is not an April Fool's, because we were talking about the other day. This is not an April Fool's. One of the players absolutely has already talked to me about doing this. Oh, you're not home? Okay. And that's why I was kind of laughing the other day, because it's like I've ran AD&D and various other D&D type games for many, many years because I'm an old bastard at this point, and I'm also a game nerd. And I've never had more fun than when I picked up Hyperborea, though. I mean, seriously. I just, that game, I don't know what it is about this game. This is the DM's book. I don't know what it is about this game that just makes everything just wacky as hell. It's like the players act wacky, the freaking monsters are all like, because it's basically D&D mixed with Call of Cthulhu. It's a fantasy world, but all of the Lovecraftian stuff is in it, including the gods. And, the players are just doing their thing, man. And for a DM, I mean, now I'm looking at things happening that I never imagined would ever happen in a role playing game. And as a DM, that's a lot of fun, Which I was talking to Bruce. He was talking about his Pathfinder game. Janet's in one of them. And he was complaining hardcore about the Pathfinder game. And I'm like, well, why do you play it then? I mean, if you hate that game so much, he said, well, I love the adventure path. And I'm like, you do? No, he said the adventure path. And I says, oh, yeah, they make some pretty good adventure paths. And he immediately is like, no, they all suck. And I'm just like, so why do you play that game again? I mean, what are we talking about here? It's like, you hate Pathfinder, but you're running an adventure path, but all the adventure paths suck. It's like, oh man. But I guess he said one of the ladies in his group was kind of attached to her character. And, that's understandable. I mean, I since I game with at least 2 and sometimes up to 4 ladies, depending on who's in town and what's going on, I have noticed, because I'm cursed with pattern recognition, I've noticed, one, that women are better role players than men in general. Not every time, but in general. And 2, women tend to get attached to their characters way more than men do. And I know this is, people will be like, well, that's generalization. Yes, it's generalization, obviously. It's just something that over the last 40 years, having played, I ran a table 10 years ago where there was like two guys at the table. Hungar was one of them. And like everyone else at the table was a lady. And we had, I guess, 7, 8 players. So 6 women. And I've never ran a game since I was like, actually, not even then. My sister played. I've never ran a game of D&D that didn't have women at the table. And so I've just noticed that women tend to get much more immersed in a setting. They tend to play their characters a lot more like whatever. And yeah, yeah, I like having women at the table. My wife and I met at a D&D game. We've been together over 20 years now. And she plays D&D with me. I keep saying D&D when I mean role-playing games. Uh, Jack Black. I still like Jack Black. He's funny. Never played Hyperborea. Yeah, I know. It's like they like the OSR style games on modern game systems, though. So they're looking for more like Castles and Crusades. What's the other one? Goodman Games does with the weird dice, or the one that what is her name? Kelsey or Chelsea did Shadow Dark. I've heard nothing but good things about Shadow Dark, so I have nothing bad to say about it. Hyperborea is kind of like what third edition D&D would have been if TSR had not got their asses whipped by White Wolf and done a bunch of stupid shit and got ran out of business by their own stupidity. Not Gary Gygax. It was actually the Bloom brothers with their horrible investments and, you know, not paying printers and all that sort of stuff. So, like in Hyperborea, yeah, it's very, very similar rules wise to like a really cleaned up, streamlined, better AD&D. So if your players don't like the idea of descending armor classes and an attack matrix and all that, then this may not be rules wise a game that they would like. However, if your players are like super into like Clark Ashton Smith, R.E. Howard, and H.P. Lovecraft, then this is the game you want to play because it's a fantasy role playing game that draws its primary inspiration from Robert E. Howard, Conan. Clark Ashton Smith created Tsagua and wrote a bunch of stuff, including the Hyperborea Chronicles, and then H.P. Lovecraft, who we all know. So it's D&D, but a little bit on the weirder side, let's say. But rules wise, if they want like modern 5e style rules, then they're not gonna love that. And yeah, yeah. I see. I'm lucky, I think, because the people I play with, when I decided I wanted to switch over to an OSR game, which was a long time ago, and the first OSR game I switched over to was Labyrinth Lord. My players were all like, okay, you know, because I don't know, because they're good natured people and I'm related to two of them. And so they were just like, okay, we'll give it a shot. We'll see if we like it, no big deal. And so that's what happened. I ran a lot of third edition, and the only comment I have about third edition is the characters get up to about level 10. I'm ready to retire them because high level play with third edition 3.5 just becomes a mess. But 3.5, which is what we switched to between level, I generally would let them start out level 3 because I mean, how many times am I going to force the same group of players to play level 1 characters? And man, we had years, 10 years, a decade at least of fun playing third edition. But like I said, I kept it slimmed down, and at level 10, that was when they were getting castles and settling down and doing stuff like that. And it was time to make new characters or something because um, they were cool. My players were cool, and they understood that I just did not enjoy running the high level games. I think a couple times we got up to like level 12, but how you got some people wanting to run like level, 15 games and stuff. I'm like, nah. You know what, Jack Black? I think you and I would get along at the gaming table because I agree with that. And the only time I ever had an issue with a player in my game was he decided to bring the Fighter Bard book, Sword and Spells or whatever, and then he decided he was just going to give his character monkey grip or some shit. And he decided, since it was in a book, that I had no say over this. And I decided, no, you are not going to dual wield great swords. And I think that dude's still pissed off about that. And this would have happened at least 20 years ago. In the end, though, he did not get to dual wield great swords. I was like, no. So you're right. The core books were good. I think I still own the only third edition book that I might still own was Book of Vile Darkness. That was a good one. That was a good book. If you wanted to actually really get down and dirty with the villains, Vile Darkness was crazy. But now my favorite online character in D&D Online was a artificer. I played an artificer to max level, and everyone kept being like, well, now you want to pick another level and level another level up, and you'll get a bonus for leveling up the artificer. And eventually I relented, and I become whatever I become, a thief or something. And I hated it. I missed my artificer so much because I had my rapid fire crossbow and my robot dog, and I was just running around having the best time ever, gunning shit down and sicking my dog on them. And yep, they convinced me to switch classes. The worst. The only way that could have worked out is if I could have started at level 1 as an artificer. Yeah, 3E was kind of, for a long time, peak D&D. And that's what Pathfinder, all Pathfinder is 3E, and they changed a couple of things. I mean, for a long time, and I'm not one of those guys that's going to sit here and lie to you because I can be pretty grognardy about shit. But when 3E came out, we played 3E. Now, up until 3E came out, from about 83 to when 3E came out, I was running first edition AD&D. But I never really switched to second edition because I was a broke boy back then, like a really broke boy. And I was in the army. And so, yeah, when I'd run games, I would run just the AD&D books that I or my mom had bought for me. Because I have, she's still alive. I have a really cool mom who actually got me into reading Tolkien and stuff. It was my mom that got me into Tolkien and Dostoevsky, because she was educated and she read, and she wanted to make sure her children read. So, in about the third grade, I was hooked on Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, right? and it was like a birthday present. She was at back when like Walden Books and all that sold role playing games. That's the only book I let in. Yep, because you're my brother and I love you and I'll bend rules for you, um, and no one else. So basically, my mom bought me the purple and blue box, basic and expert books, box sets as a gift, um, which is so funny because it's like you talk to other people my age and they're all complaining about the satanic panic, and my mom is literally buying me the stuff. I was like, and it's not like we weren't religious, just you know my grandma, hillbilly that she was, and I love her to death because I'm a hillbilly too. She heard something from somebody about D&D being really bad, and she come to the house and she's like, "I heard that's really bad," and I got it and I handed her the box. And I said, "Well, look through it, Grandma." And she looked through it and she handed it back and said, "I don't see what anybody's complaining about. It's what you're pretending to be an elf." I was like, "Yeah, pretty much." She's like, "And you're fighting against bad guys?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's what you do. You're a hero." And she's like, "Yeah, okay, whatever." And she never mentioned it again. I mean, it was like, yeah, Beckme is, even though I started with Purple Box and I love Purple Box and I'll always love BX more than Beckme, rationally, I understand that Beckme's a better game. You get what I'm saying? Like the only reason I love the freaking Moldvay Cook set is, I guess, nostalgia because it's what I started with. But if I sat down and put on my rational, scientific brain, and I actually compared the two, there's no real comparison. Beckme slash the Rules Compendium are the bet is just the better set. It was laid out better. Everything about was better. Um, you know, like if you went through the choose your own adventure that came in the Beckme box set, by the time you were done, you knew how to play D&D. And no other basic set before that was like that. Like even with the purple box, you had to try and figure shit out. I mean, and there were some parts where you'd have to put a little brain power into it to be like, okay, what's going on here now? You know what I mean? But with Beckme, not that way at all, man. You could fight Bargle and suffer through him killing Alara the cleric, which, makes us all hate Bargle. And then because of the way that thing was set up, you just knew how to do everything you needed to do. Satya, how you doing, brother? Um, so yeah, Beckme was definitely that's the best basic set, but I still love Moldvay Cook more. Ordered some miniatures from Reaper. Yeah, me too, and I need to stop because I have. But I think I told you, Satya, that I had decided I'm just going to quit 3D printing. I mean, I actually gave my big Saturn IV away to one of my nephews, and I'm like, yeah, here it is. Here's all the spare parts and everything for it. Here's like a bottle of freaking resin I never opened. Knock yourself out. I just I realized honestly doing a little math that it's honestly cheaper for me, easier, etc., to just buy Reaper miniatures than it is to 3D print. Now, I do kind of miss the option of just being able to 3D print any damn thing. Like this guy right here, of course, I 3D print it because I don't think anyone makes a miniature of Guts. And you can see I'm just getting ready to work on his armor and his daggers and stuff, right? So yes, that's the part of 3D printing that's awesome, that I could 3D print Guts, or um, another guy you guys might recognize, the Goblin Slayer. But but there's Etsy. So if there's something I just really desperately decide I have to have, I'll pay the $5 or $10 and let someone else 3D print it. But I'm not. Yeah, the resin printing becomes way too much of an issue. I mean, it's beautiful, and I could print anything out, but after a while, it just was like too much of a mess. Stinking up the garage, getting all over the place. The resin that I used was like $40 a liter. So I started doing the math, like how much I was spending on resin a month. And then I was like, I could easily get most of what I want from Reaper in plastic, you know, for that, and never have to worry about having, like a gallon of isopropyl alcohol just hanging out. Wait, because I got a little paranoid about that because I'm like, alcohol is a great accelerant. Yeah. In how Thaco works, and there's no real Thaco, but I guess you could. Black Orcs and Giants from Etsy. Nice. Plus, the miniatures you buy might not cause you to have cancer. Well, there's that too. Actually, I think resin destroys your kidneys if you get it on you too much, because it'll get in your skin and then it'll get in your kidneys and like gum them up. And as we all know, the kidneys are basically a sponge. It's kind of like one way to really jack yourself up and maybe even die if you're not careful, is to drink a lot of protein shakes for working out, but not also drink a ton of water. Because if you drink the shakes but not enough water, then that protein will get in your kidneys and it will actually gum them up and stop them from working. I know this because a guy I used to work with at the fire department did that to himself, because all he did is drink protein shakes and coffee. And then we were on shift one day and he turned freaking all kinds of different colors and passed out. And it was, I had to run him to the hospital. I was like, yeah, this guy's, he's in kidney failure. They managed to, get him back. But if he hadn't gotten to the ER immediately, he would not have been with us. And then because of his kidney thing, it made it where his resting heart rate was like 100. And for those of you who don't know, um, like my resting heart rate's like 60, 65. That's kind of about average for most people, maybe up to 80. A resting heart rate of 100 is horrible. Can cause cardiovascular disease as well. Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. See, I didn't even quit because of the diseases, because I got my gloves and I'm pretty careful. I did it over monetary reasons. It was just like it doesn't save me as much money as I thought it would, because I had all these dreams of, I'll just 3D print everything I want and never buy miniatures again. Yeah, that's a lie. And then also, um, my wife wasn't a fan of it because of how it stunk up the garage and everything. And that played into it too. I was like, well, I don't really need to do this. It'll make the wife happier. Everybody be happier. So I have a nephew who is an engineer, uh, like an actual mechanical engineer. And I was like, hey, if you want the 3D printer, take it. So, but, and luckily for me, since I just had a workup, because I get the full medical every year, um, all of my functions were right where they need to be. As a matter of fact, my liver function improved. But I think that has to do with the fact that I lost 70 pounds. You know what I mean? So I used to be like 304 or 5 pounds. Now I'm about 240. So I lost 60 pounds. I actually lost more than that, but then I gained like 10 back. And now I'm pretty much stable. I haven't, went up or down in weight in like over a year. And how I did it was I used the old school method of don't eat so much. And, so for breakfast, instead of having all kinds of stuff for breakfast, I had one piece of pumpernickel or black bread with one egg and maybe one piece of bacon. That would be breakfast. And then lunch would be like some little small thing like a salad or something. Actually, it'd be meat. And then dinner would be like, you know, some kind of meat because I stopped eating everything but meat and greens, except for breakfast when I would have my toast with my egg. So I went almost full keto on that shit, or primate, or whatever you call it. Uh, I I freaking meat and collard greens or turnip greens or spinach or whatever, just all the time. And I dropped all that weight in like 2 months. As a matter of fact, the doctor was like, he was really happy I dropped all the weight, but he was also not happy I dropped that much weight that fast. He was like, whoa, 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 you dropped 40 pounds a month. And he asked me how, and I told him, this is why I eat. This is all I eat. And he was like, they're talking about putting me on Ozempic, and I didn't need that. But so you got yourself meat and potatoes. See, I love potatoes, but now I eat sweet potatoes because they're a lot better for you, a lot more fiber and stuff. But I do love freaking like a good pot roast or something. Man, so good. But hey, Mobius, how you doing, eh? Oatmeal for breakfast. Yeah, yeah, you can do that. I go hard protein for breakfast though. Eggs, always eggs. And then if I have bacon or some kind of ham or something, then I'll have that. But yeah. But so, what Reaper miniatures did you get, Satya? And did you get this? Because I've got three of her now. It's the long rest with the woman just sitting on the chest with like the big ass sword. I mean, it's absolutely a cool miniature, but it's a diorama. So I mean, I don't know that you could actually use this in a game. But I've got that one in a box. I've got this one that I built, and I got another one in a box because I keep ordering Reaper miniatures and they keep giving me that for free. And I also got the green and the red paints for free from them. And what I ended up ordering, which you may find strange, is I ended up ordering like a lot of fish. Like I ordered some of their giant groupers, which aren't giant. I've already ranted about that. I ordered the Dunkleosaurus. I ordered a couple of harpies, which are not fish. I ordered like the giant crocodiles, and mostly I'm ordering things that I'm going to need for my Hyperborea game. And since Hyperborea, like I always say, is a lot different than like AD&D monster wise, there's no goblins or hobgoblins or any of that. But there's tons of like Neanderthals and Denisovians and subhuman ape men and whatever. And then, of course, there's also sharks and crab men and all that, which Reaper keeps not having crab people. And that keeps not making me happy. Because every time I go and I look at Reaper Black, one of the first things I look for is the crab men. And they're always sold out. It's like, well, come on, guys. Get those gears a working. So I put the little heart next to them so they know that I want them. And yeah. Like these I'm working on now. They're the 4-armed Ogrelons. But I also, from Reaper, I ordered a pack of carnivorous apes. Oh, that's nice. Kobolds, yeah. Well, I mean, kobolds are like, it's so weird how kobolds have become what they've become in like D&D. And it started with third edition when they become like little dragon men, because I kind of prefer the actual mythological kobold, you know, that like lives in mines, and they're like little bastards. And if you bribe them, then they're cool. But if you don't bribe them, then they can cause like cave-ins and stuff, you know. I think some people also call them knockers because if they're cool with you, they'll make a knocking noise to warn you of a cave in. But if you're not cool, then, you know, they'll kill you. You know, oh, nice. Oh, you're putting together a old world army. Because that is cool. And if I play Warhammer Fantasy, I've got like 3 or 4 of the 7th edition rule books to go with all of my Warhammer armies. Uh, but yeah, I'm not interested in the old world. And I don't know if you and I've spoken about this before, but the main reason is because they're not supporting my army. So I'm not supporting their game. Um, that's quite a lot, because if I remember offhand, the dollar and the euro are uh, pretty much neck to neck, aren't they? I mean, I seem to remember that, but I could be wrong. Things change quick. Like the mark, well, now they use the euro, but when I was in Frankfurt, Germany, they were still using the mark, the Deutschmark or whatever. And the way our economies were, the German economy, you could buy like a liter of beer for 35 cents American, you know, if you gave a damn to do the conversion. It was like everything in the early 90s over there was just cheap. And so being in the military and going to Germany was like a blast, you know. That was kind of a thing you wanted to do, right? And it was also considered to be like a dream posting if you could get posted to Germany, because they'll bring the legacy armies back in time. Well, we'll see, because I've still got at least 5,000 or 6,000 points in the old game of Dark Elves. So my last order, I ordered the apes. I ordered one female assassin, and I ordered some CAV, the CAV tanks and infantry fighting vehicles, because the CAV miniatures are, they're supposed to be 15 millimeter scale, but they're the same size as Bautech miniatures. So if you wanted to, if you were playing with a group of people who were okay, then you could buy the CAV like vehicles and stuff like that. I bought some jet fighters and a couple helicopters too. You can totally just use those in a Bautech game, and just say that, well, that's a Rommel, or that's a Patton, or that's a whatever, or that's a whatever, a Shrek, or whatever, So yeah, I did that. And then I'll show you this. I think I've shown you this before, Satya. I need to take them out, but this is my Reaper miniatures in some slightly soapy water, making sure that when I go to paint them, I will not have to worry about the form release. And the soap isn't really an issue. I mean, you might want to rinse it off. Sometimes I don't. I just let them dry, because a lot of time the soap in the water with the paint, this soap acts to kind of make the paint spread better. You know what I mean? It's a thing. I'm forgetting the word for what it does to water, but it does it to water. It makes the water spread more. So like when I was in the fire service, we would dump a bunch of dish detergent in the engine's water tank, because it causes that water to spread all over the place a lot easier. And yeah, and that's a good thing, There's a name for what it does, though. Water has that walks on water, try to walk over, it'll go. It somehow takes away the. Damn it! I'm just jabbering at this point, but there's a scientific word for what it does, and it used to be an old painting trick back in the day to put just a tiny bit of soap in your water, and it would help your paint. When you thin the paint, it would help it cover better. But see, I got these groupers. Now, let me tell you something. We have colossal Atlantic groupers off the coast here in Florida, and some of them will come up to the docks. They're way bigger than this. So the fact that Reaper thinks this is a giant grouper is kind of like, to me, funny, because they live, I kid you not, colossal grouper in the Atlantic there, right? They get as big as a damn Volkswagen. And that's not folk tales or any of that kind of crap. People have been out diving and took pictures of those things. They get big. A grouper about that size, that's the kind you'll find laying up under a dock. And people will catch them, and they'll pick them up to get a picture, but then they let them right back. They can't remove them from the water. It's against the law. But you can't catch them. So they'll hook onto one and they'll drag it up and they'll take a picture of themselves holding it while its belly's still in the water, and then they pull the hook and let it go. But they get big, real big. So anyway, I got two of those groupers. I might have got more, but just in case the players want to go swimming, have one of them get swallowed by a grouper. That'd be cool. Got a troll with a chain gun. Mainly because I love Shadowrun. So while I don't think I'll ever run Shadowrun at any point in the near future, I couldn't pass up, picking up a troll with a chain gun. I was like, yeah, I gotta have that. There is my female assassin, and she is going to become a Amazon assassin. Yeah, it has something to do with displacement or something. Now I picked up a bunch of these a while back. I bought, or actually not even bought, 3D printed a bunch of harpies. And man, those things broke nonstop because the contact points between the legs and the base and the wings and was just So I'm like, yeah, I'm not dealing with that shit anymore. And so harpies, or if you're playing Baptism of Fire, Arcanostes, I believe they're called, which is a harpy. Okay. This is a book on a stand. Oh, it looks like something supposed to go in there. Okay. I'm like, what is that? Troglodytes, more troglodytes. My Hyperborea group encountered 10 troglodytes. They're all like third and fourth level. You think they ran directly into like some kind of greater demon or something, the way they were acting, run around in circles and stuff. So what do we got here? Harpy, troglodyte, troglodyte, troglodyte. Oh, this guy. I need to paint this guy up relatively soon. It's Jason from Jason and the Argonauts. And I've already painted up Hercules. And I think in the order I just made recently, I did order a Nemean lion or whatever. More troglodytes. I ordered a lot of troglodytes. And the wings. Oh, I think this is for Sophie. I think I ordered a Sophie. Yeah, they got stuck in with the troglodytes, and that whole game was a story of how to fail every saving throw that you are requested to make. That was the story of that whole game. The players literally, the characters for like 2 game sessions in a row so far, they have failed every saving throw that they've been asked to make, pretty much. Which meant when they got into the fight with the serpent people, the serpent men, 4 of them got whacked right off the bat with hold person spells, and 1 of them got turned into a rat with a polymorph other. And then the other day, they had to make a saving throw to get past this curse that kept them from entering a dungeon room. None of them did it. No, I think 1 might have done it, but then decided they weren't going into the room because they're like, nah, F that. Everybody else is, not going, so I ain't going. So, yeah, I mean, and then 1 of them failed the saving throw versus poison needle and was going to die in 1-4 rounds, but she had a potion of antidote on her. So she pulled that out and chugged it. Fickle dice, because the mechanic is very simple. In Hyperborea, you've got your basic saving throw number, which decreases as you go up in level. And then depending on your class, you get 2 or more bonuses to specific saving throws. So if you're a wizard, you will get +2 to transformation and sorcery. So your basic first level wizard has a 16 save versus everything, but sorcery, it's actually a 14 because you get +2. And then if you have a really high wisdom, you can get other bonuses versus sorcery or whatever. But and then if you're certain classes like the Berserker, you get +2 to all saves because it costs you 4,000 XP to go from 1 to 2. So, the Berserkers are really powerful class, but they level slow. The fighter and the thieves, a lot of times they have like death saves bonuses, which is really good because there are a lot of things in the game that are save versus death or die, like that poison needle trap. But one thing they did I really like, though, is how they handle undead that do level drain. They don't do level drain. They drain constitution, which is kind of like how they did it, I think, in 3rd edition. So if a white attacks you, every time it hits, it takes away 1d4 con points. And if you hit 0, then you will rise in like 10 minutes to be a white. If you survive that fight, it takes 1 day of rest to get a constitution point back. So, fighting a mob of whites it's still dangerous as hell, but it's not, so much of a, oh, you're a first level character and the white hits you, so you're just dead. No, you can still try and fight for a while, but I'll be honest with you, chances are you're going to die anyway. But yeah, so I really like again, a lot of people might think I'm an old school Grognard type guy, but I prefer the attribute drain to the level drain. And the main reason for that is laziness. As a DM, having to keep track of who lost levels and then them having to run around like maniacs looking for restoration or greater restoration and all that sort of stuff. It's just like, to me, it's needless. It's as I like to say, the juice is not worth the squeeze on that one. Whereas, taking away attributes, in a way, that can be even worse because you got your high level fighter out there and he gets hit a few times and drops 8 con. All of a sudden, he's losing hit points. He's just not having a good time. And then it takes a long time to get it back. So in my opinion, it's just a better mechanic. But there may be some people who would disagree. And, that is what makes the game good. That's what puts the spice in it. The people who disagree, they're loud. Like my boy Shadow, he probably, I don't know. Actually, I shouldn't speak to him like to his opinion because I'm not sure if Shadow would prefer or does prefer the level drain or if he would, I don't know which way he swings on that one in particular. He seemed a little weirded out about the one player casting an impotence curse on the other character thing, though. He seemed a little weird about that. It was like Shadow, my boy, my homie, my bro. I don't know what kind of game you run, but our game gets a little weird, a little strange. This is an adult table. The youngest person at the table is in their late 30s. So stuff happens. Now, I'm not saying I go into detail about like naughty stuff. I don't, but it is an adult table. So, people will hire prosties. Sometimes the women will. I mean, stuff happens because they're all playing adult characters at an adult table. I mean, I'm not saying I want to bust out the erotic D&D book because hell with that. But, if the barbarian rolls into town and Bear decided I was a Nazi, I believe. It was pretty much what happened. The thing that broke the camel's back, I think, for him was I used the word Eskimo a lot, and he got mad. But, and he tried to correct me and say, that's considered a slur, Eskimo, right? And I was like, well, I don't know that. And that's what they're called in Hyperborea, Eskimo. They're called Eskimo in Hyperborea. And man, he got really upset. And then he sent me a thing and said he's just taking a break. But he wasn't taking a break. And then my brother, who I don't know if he's even here now, Hungar, who lived with the Eskimo because he was dating one in Alaska, right? They called themselves Eskimo until you got to know them a little bit. Then they tell you what their actual tribe was. Like, I never heard any of those people up there. It's been a while. Plus, he was really mad at Mobius. So every time Mobius would show up in my chat, Bear would get super pissed off. And Mobius and Bear would snipe at each other a little bit. And then he corrected me on saying certain words because he said they were slurs. And I said, I don't care, and I mean, he pissed Andre off. I don't know if you guys know who Andre is. He's the guy that showed up and had the Cyrillic alphabet name because he lives in St. Petersburg, Russia. And Andre sent me a message and was like, I would have kicked that dude off your chat like months ago. And I'm like, why? And he's like, because the dude insinuated that you were basically a racist a lot of times. And I was like, I missed it. I must have missed it because I don't remember, but maybe he did. I don't know. But if he did, he was barking up the wrong tree because I literally do not care if somebody calls me a racist. I don't care. And the fact that they're called Eskimos in the role-playing book, I'm not going to start trying to change what they're called because some person, regardless of who they are, thinks that, I should talk the way they want me to talk, Like if the guy who wrote the book calls them that, that's fine. He's like, yeah, that's an insult. It means eater of raw flesh. And I'm like, well, they do eat raw flesh. I've literally seen them sit down and eat a whole seal raw. Like a family of them. So don't you, I mean, they invented that name. We didn't invent the name, they did. So that's as far as I could tell what was going on. But unfortunately, it meant that the number of people who actually show up to bullshit around with me dropped significantly. Because Bear is a more popular streamer than I am, and probably always will be. Why? He's charismatic. He's, fun. He's a fun guy. He is not as judgmental as I am about things. He's a lot more careful to toe the line with certain speech things, like the Eskimo thing. And yeah, so I mean, so that's why people like what's her name? the lesbian Marine chick, right? She'll show up at Bear's channel all the time, but she'll never show up at mine. And the reason is because she knows that I am very Christian. And the fact that I exist as an Orthodox Christian makes her not want to be around me because she already knows what my church thinks about same sex stuff. Yeah, well, Jose's been going to school. I still talk to Jose. Jose's going to school. He has been super busy. He does have a channel called BattleTech something. I'm subscribed, and every now and then he puts out BattleTech related stuff. But yeah, who Bears? I don't know. I thought he'd done okay. I mean, which I'm not saying that he doing okay is the one that's affecting it. I mean, I think I've got like 3,000 subscribers, and Razor Fist gave me a shout out last week, and my subscribers jumped way up again. Um, so the only reason I got as many subscribers as I have, honest, is Razor Fist. And if you look at like the videos I make and the live streams I do, most of them barely get any views. But the shorts I put out hit 1,000 plus like every time. So it's really weird, Like I did a short where it's just me and Haas talking about how Japanese people eat KFC for Thanksgiving or whatever, or Christmas dinner or whichever one it is. And that thing did like 2,000 plus views or something. Because I guess people wanted to know about Japanese people and KFC. Which I'll be honest, I'd rather have KFC than turkey too. So, it is what it is, I guess. But yeah, it was a little bit of that. I mean, he said I was trolling him. I wasn't trolling him. And of course, my nature is whenever someone gets mad at me, I always try to figure out what I did wrong. That's how I am. I'm like, okay, what did I do to piss this guy off, right? And so I went through that spiral of what did I do wrong? The curse of the colonel, right? I went through the spiral of what I did wrong, but then a lot of people who've been hanging out with me and being bros for a very long time sent me messages, and they're like, you didn't do anything wrong, So, yeah. I mean, honestly, maybe he just wanted to spend more time on his own channel. I understand that. I mean, I one thing I do that I know is wrong is I don't go on my friends' channels as much as they go on mine. So me and Shadow and I were talking about the other day. He was like, I've been busy, but if you see me on, jump on. So yeah, I need to do that. I can't expect everyone to always be on my show, but me to never be on anyone else's. I just don't understand why anyone would want me on their show, but hey, it is what it is. Yeah, he went with the Shadow Dark thing, which you know what I think about Shadow Dark? Awesome. I like Shadow Dark. Paul, you could be right, because when I saw the view numbers, I was like, what in the F is this? And also, the only reason I bumped to the viewer count I have, like I said, is Razor Fist. He shouted me out multiple times. Catch you later, Satya. Be safe, bro. And every time he shouts me out, my subscription goes way up. But I don't think any of the people that come over from Razor Fist channel to this channel, actually watch this channel. It's like they come over and they subscribe because Razor Fist said, go subscribe to that guy. But they don't want to sit here and watch me ramble about hillbilly bullshit or painting miniatures, you know? Because Razor Fist he does gaming, but he's mostly political commentary. And so that's kind of what most of the guys on his channel want to see. They want to see political commentary. But you can go through all my videos and never see any political commentary in some of them. And then others will be nothing but, depending on if I'm pissed off about anything in particular or wanting to make fun of something. Like yesterday, we spent a few minutes making fun of the new Democratic Party of Canada and their point of order, you know. Yeah. Yeah, it does something, Paul, because like I can put a short out and that thing will bump. It'll just go crazy, you know. And then this studio I use, Restream, at the end of the live, it will go through the live to find the it'll go through and find shorts that it thinks will do really good according to the YouTube algorithm. So like a good example would be the Japanese KFC short was a 9 point something out of 10 for engagement. So I put that thing up and it just freaking zipped. But yeah, my wife and sister-in-law are plotting my birthday this weekend. I was like, I'll go to the sports bar, I'll eat a Cobb salad, I'll order a double Moscow Mule with extra twist of lime in it, and then I'll be good, you know. That's about all I need. I don't need anything else. Unless somebody buys me some more Baltec figures or something, I'm not going to say no. Come on now. I'm not going to be like, I don't want Baltec figures. No, I'll be like, thank you for minis. You know, I almost bought an actual Varangian style helmet and a set of chainmail with this chainmail is more Eastern style. It has, instead of round links, it has flat links and it's butted and riveted. Yeah, I almost bought that. But then I was like, why? You know? Like my right shoulder is jacked up and never going to get better. I'm 54. I'm never going to be back in the SCA again. So what would be the point, you know? But it looked really cool. I mean, I was like, you know, the Russian helmet had like the whole full face covered and the point, you know, and the Aventel that come all the way down and everything and around because, you know, it's a Varangian style helmet. So I would have been meld from my knees all the way up, you know, hands and all meld because it had meld mittens you could get. But it reminds me, but a dragon is getting old by the Stones. Man, I do miss the SCA. I had a lot of fun there. I could go back as a merchant or something, but nope. I don't want to be a merchant. I want to hit people with a stick. That's what I want to do. If I can't hit people with a stick, then I ain't doing it. Right? Hey, Mike. How you doing? Long time. Yeah, thank you. For all of the people who care about such things, I guess I'm an Aries. I am an Aries. I remember I dated this chick that was super into that sort of stuff. And I'm an Aries, Leo, apparently. So my sun, moon, and what rising sign are all fire, which she would say explains my temper back then. I don't have a temper now, but I used to have a horrible temper, but I would get really mad and then I would get over it in like 5 minutes. So it wasn't horrible, I guess. Last week, well, happy birthday to you, Mike. Um, I think every time we manage to make it around the sun one more time, I think that's probably a good thing. You know, it's always better being on the top side of the grass, as they say. But cool. Yeah, my mom's birthday was last month too. Which reminds me, I need to send her something cool. I don't know what, but or did I send her something cool? I don't remember. Maybe I already did. At Zico, Andromeda, Spotify. Hey, Tiffany. The Andromeda. Do you mean like the Andromeda Strain, the movie? Because that was a pretty good movie. I liked it. But I don't know who Zico is. I mean, Tiffany, if you're trying to talk anime to me, I know Berserk and Goblin Slayer abridged, Goblin Slayer abridged, and Fear It. And that's pretty much about it, really. I mean, I kind of have seen other anime, but none of them. Okay, Cowboy Bebop is memorable too, but overall, nah. I'm more of a Berserk kind of guy. I've got all the mangas, and I like the movies. Even the movies people think are bad, I think are okay. Yeah, every day is a blessing, Mike. I mean, one thing that gets me that I've noticed, I don't know if the rest of you guys my age have noticed, I'm 54. It's like every day I wake up and kind of wonder who died. Isn't that terrible? But you kind of wake up and you're like, well, who do I know that died today? Because the people of the generation before me that I knew, they're all like 80. And it's like, oh gosh. I mean, Chuck Norris died, for heaven's sake. I didn't know if that was possible. I assume it only happened because he was wanted it to happen. But you know, that is the thing. The older you get, the more people die. And there's just not much you can do about it. I don't know if Paul's still here, but Paul, if you're still here, if you didn't just drop in and drop out, which I appreciate anyway. Um, Hell yeah, last night the wife went to the store and she bought some of those Home Run Inn Chicago pizzas, but they're thin, but they're I guess in Chicago there's Home Run Inn. I don't know what the hell that is, but she introduced me to it and I really like them, so I got to eat thought you were 51. Yeah, that happened to me. I thought I was 55. And then I had to look and I was like, I'm 54? Awesome. I thought I was older than I was. Um, yeah, since the wife's from Illinois, her family anyway, um, she introduced me to Home Run Inn pizzas. And they're really good for oven pizza. But then again, Paul might not still be here. or Hungar left. Somebody left. It happens. I have this rotation where it'll go up and then it'll drop and it'll go up and it'll drop. And it's like I'm entertaining in small doses. Another thing I need to paint, and I think I've already got the colors for this, is this guy right here. It's like the ones she gets are thin and crispy, sausage and pepperoni. And they were buy one, get one free at Publix the other day. So she picked a couple up because, some days when, it's like, I don't really want to cook, blah, blah, blah. Throw one of those guys in, right? And I got no problem with, as I call them, oven pizzas. I got no problem with an oven pizza. I'll eat it. I'll eat an oven pizza, and then we sit and watch something on TV, some sci-fi story, because you know how there's all the AI sci-fi stories now. But I I actually thought about you when I was eating the pizza last night because of the Chicago, and I was like, Paul's from Chicago. My wife, I think, lived just outside of Chicago in one of the like upper middle class or upper class suburbs or some shit like that, because her family. Yeah, I always say that because we had an oven pizza she had bought because they were BOGO, and we ate it a couple days ago, and I liked it, but it just wasn't the home run pizza. So when she actually brought the home run pizza, and I was like, yeah, I want that. She's like, but you just had pizza a little while ago, and I was like, yeah, but it wasn't the pizza I wanted. And that matters. Oh, you're at work today. Uh, Blaster Zine snagged at Adepticon. You went to Adepticon? Cool. Oh, that'll be good, man. And make your videos a little longer. As my, I mean, the one video that I've actually seriously watched by Paul, my complaint was it wasn't long enough. I wanted to watch more. So if you got that going for you, that's pretty good, you know. Red Barons, I haven't had a Red Barons pizza in forever. Timmy, how you doing, Timmy? But yeah, because my wife likes the home run pizza, and then I of course started liking them too. So now that's just what it is. Like I don't want any other kind of pizza because like when we order from the local Italian restaurant, we don't even order pizza anymore. We order I'll order like veal cutlet with spaghetti or something. I mean, I don't even bother with the pizza anymore because, I'm good. I can always have one from the freezer. Yeah. Oh, man. Oh, I painted that spider up. I need to go ahead and get the yeah, Mobius. I don't know. Maybe they're not available up there. Like America's that way too. Wagon with okay. Catch you later. Um, like down south here, we got Publix, but when you go to like Kentucky, the last time I was up there anyway, you don't got a Publix or a Winn Dixie. It's kind of like Publix, I think, is mostly just Florida and maybe Georgia now or something. I mean, it's spreading, but For a long time, it was just a Florida thing. Here's the Spider. This is the paint job I decided to go with it, which is just kind of a simple sand and light, chocolate brown color. I need to do the cockpit and then do the base of it. I am wondering, I was thinking, do I put like the normal grass space I normally put on, or do I use some of that desert basing material I got uh, make it like look like it's actually in a desert? I don't know if either matters particularly, um, but the cockpit I'm doing in this coppery red color that Vallejo puts out. You got a Publix in Tennessee, huh? So yeah, they're spreading around. They're getting all over the place. All right. Got to throw this away, which makes me sad because I used it all. But People Eater Purple Turbo Dork. It's metallic purple. It's a good color, man. But now it's an empty color, which goes to show how much I use purple. A lot. Okay, I need that. So I got these miniatures. I'll let them dry before I try to paint any of them. But April Fool's Day. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Is April Fool's Day the day that they burned all of the Templars alive? Because I seem to remember April Fool's Day was actually inspired by some horrible thing that happened back in, like, the olden days. And I think that it was also on a Friday the 13th or something when the Pope and the French king had all the Templars arrested and accused of stuff and then burnt. Except in England, because the English didn't go along with it. So anyway, yeah, that's the I don't know. Let's see, that reddish color. I do a lot of my cockpits that color, mainly because if you've ever played BattleTech Online, which I used to be super into, all the cockpits of the mechs were that metallic reddish gold color. So I tried to implement that with a lot of my mechs. So Friday 13th is when they did that. Okay. All right. Yeah, I know that. So then what is April Fool's all about? Now, some of my mechs, I tried to do the gemstone thing where you do the blue and the dark and, you know, but unfortunately, even though I've been painting miniatures for damn near most of my life, I still suck. You know, it's unfortunate, really. Like as far as getting a miniature ready to go on the table and look pretty good, I can do it, but you got some of these guys out here that just kill it, man. And I'm not envious. I'm just like, damn, that guy's really good. Like the guy that does all the camo painting and stuff. That guy's really good. But yeah, I can't wait till I finally get my brother down here so that I can whip the shit out of him at a game of Alpha Strike. I am going to beat the brakes off of that guy. He won't even know what happened. He will go back to Tennessee crying. I'm telling you right now. We're going to play like 300 points Alpha Strike on the big table. And he can take whatever he wants. I've got all the cards for everything, 30, 25. And I'm telling you, it's like, I almost want to quote Pinhead on this. Hungar's suffering will be legendary even in hell when I get him around the table. Because I am just going to smack him up like he's my redheaded step brother or some shit. He did used to be redheaded. So, I mean, it counts, right? I know the pieces fit because I saw them fall apart. Okay. Well, one of the best smacks ever right here, but I need to do the thing. Curse of the Templars. Yeah, man. I'm going to take a lance of urban mechs, maybe a couple of tanks, a couple of VTOLs. I got to take my Griffin because I never play a game without a Griffin. Probably got to take my Orion because I always take an Orion. I don't know what he'll take, but it's not going to help him. Whatever he takes, it's not going to help him. And then if we play classic Valtech, Lance on Lance, that'll probably be even worse for him, honestly. I mean, honestly, if I were my brother, I probably wouldn't even visit because the ass whipping he'll get when he gets here will be painful. In Valtech, obviously. I'm not talking about like actually, going after my brother. I'd never do that. I love my brother, but at least not since we were teenagers. When we were teenagers, boy, we were rough customers with each other. We were pretty savage little bastards. So one thing I'm doing, because I always do this for whatever reason, is this is my Green Knight in just a basic green, but the yellow you see on him, that's his las guns, right? His laser cannons. And I tend to paint my lasers on mechs with yellow and paint the plasma guns blue. I guess determined by whether it's a large, medium, or small. You could probably do other colors, but I just do what I do. So, yeah. Got my Ostall too. Might have to take an Ostall. It's a pretty decent scout mech for a bigger scout, Fast, decent weapons. Use it to run down enemy scout mechs. Need to get my head shaved. It's starting to get hot. My hair's starting to make my head sweaty. I don't like it. I hate it. See, so put the blue in there on his PPC. ACs get just black, because so now I need my bright green. Don't act like you just hear me talking smack. Hungar, you ain't got anything to say? I called you out. And you know that around here we play for blood. Right? I'll be Ringo. You will not be Doc Holliday. You'll be like the fat sheriff that gets shot. That's how that's going to go. And then when it happens, I'll be like, oops, did I do that? Yeah. Yeah. My brother's ignoring me. He probably, do I need to go back to his? Hold on a second. I'm going to go back to his Facebook and yell at him. I'm talking all this shit. If he's not here to hear it, I mean, then what's the damn point? You know what I mean? I ain't trying to talk shit behind his back. I'm trying to shit talk him to his face. He's going to feel the wrath of the purple bird. That's right. Because bird is a word. I said bird is a word. Hey everybody, haven't you heard? Because everybody knows House Merrick's the word. Word. All right. I just sent him a re-invite. I know he said he wasn't at home though, so he might be at a doctor's office or something. Jimmy John's. We got Jimmy John's down here, but so I'm going to do some dry brushing on this guy right here. And this guy looks like a whammer, but it's not. It's a hammer hand, which is an alternate whammer. What's up?
And I just got home and I was laying down.
So you missed everything I said.
No, I've had you on in the background.
You're lying. You missed everything I said.
Dude, look at the chat.
We have them in Tennessee.
Yeah.
I went off like for 20 minutes after that.
Yeah, I'm trying to take a nap.
You don't need a nap. I was telling everybody how bad I'm going to whip your ass at Baltech next time I see you.
Yeah, that's what you say, but I don't think so. I think this time the dice is going to be on my side, and I'm going to get around one headshot with a freaking AC-20.
Nope. 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 It's not going to happen.
You know, you were talking about tanks and stuff in BattleTech.
Oh, yeah. I said maybe I'll take some tanks. I got a bunch of them.
That's cool because you stomp on a tank, and it's just an instant kill.
Yeah. Yeah. They're pretty fragile, but I mean, they're cheap. And if you take a bunch of, I think the patents, they've got like AC-10. So you can just set them up on a ridge and, you know,
And I can use my super fast jetter to run around that ridge and just like jump on their heads.
is this what we're talking about? Because when your super fast Jenner gets anywhere near them, my super fast grasshopper is going to bend your super fast Jenner over.
Now your fast grasshopper is gonna be dealing with two freaking fire javelins that can fire all their
Oh,
shit.
so now you're bringing a whole damn platoon of Scout Max, huh?
That's right. Fire javelins can fire everything and still stay under heat.
Look, we can go back and forth. The only way this gets settled is when you come down.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty confident. The Draconis Combine will be taking another ass whipping from the Purple Bird.
You ain't got time to fight Draconis Combine. You're too busy fighting yourselves.
So what are you saying? You're going to build a lance and say it's like from the Andorian Concordant or something, like,
No,
or pick a
no,
province from like House Merrick and be like, this is what we're doing. I'm playing like the 7th Merrick Militia. You're playing like the 18th Merrick Militia.
no. No, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it into a scenario where I run up on two barrack units fighting each other, and then I'm
Well,
just going
I've
to
got
stand
the
back.
book with the where you can like do the mercenary stuff and campaigns and scenarios and all that.
Yeah, I'm going to just stand back and watch the barracks just like decimate each other, and then I'm going to sweep in and kill the last surviving barracks and take all the loot.
Doubtful.
Nope, that's what I'm going to do.
Nope.
So you're going to have to fight a barrack unit, and you're going to be both barracks because I can't play those dirty bastards. And then after one side wins, I'm going to sweep in and just take out the other one.
Yeah, I'm saying no.
Are you scared?
Well, I'm not going to fight 2 lances by myself. That's crazy.
It's going to be an ambush mission.
It'll be a me getting the hell out of Dodge mission.
As long as I get all the loot, I don't care.
There'll be no loot because I'll be gone.
Because I'd be standing back watching without you knowing.
Without the loot.
I'm gonna make a Larian scout unit.
Oh yeah, just we'll play Alpha Strike, and you'll just have 4. Your whole army will be just 4 Atlases running around.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be something. Did you see Bubba's been doing a lot of work putting together his Valtech stuff? It looks really good.
Yeah.
Supposedly they're changing the rules up, like they're getting rid of slides for mechs that go too fast and stuff. It'll be like the first time in quite a long time they've made any kind of significant change to the rules.
They don't need to make any changes. The game's perfect the way it is.
Well, I think what we're looking at here is Catalyst Games, right? They have Valtech, and they keep wanting to push like the Ilkon era, right? But the problem is every time people do polls and stuff, the Ilkon era is like the least played era of Valtech.
Yeah.
But they're like the Draconis Combine box sets I bought. The majority of those mechs are for the Ilkon era. And then then the new starter box comes with a bunch of Ilkon era mechs or some shit.
The only era
and
worth
it's like
playing.
I just don't even care, you know.
You know what the only era worth playing is?
Yeah, 30 25.
Yeah, that's it.
I would say 30 25 to 30 50. From the first Succession War all the way up to the Clan Invasion.
Yeah.
But anything after that's like, nah.
Yeah,
because I mean, I've managed to get a couple of Alpha Strike games in where I was playing Inner Sphere versus Clan Invaders, and they were fun games.
Yeah, I just
because Alpha Strike evens everything up. So he only had like a lance and a couple support versus a company. His mechs are much better, but I've got a company.
Yeah.
And if I play well, then I can end him pretty well, you know, pretty good.
Clan is easy mode for people who want to play BattleTech.
Yeah, Clan is what you would pick if you were one of those win at all costs guys at like Warhammer.
Yeah.
And you decided to come over and play BattleTech because you're pissed off at Warhammer. Yeah, you would pick Clan because you know.
Did you hear? This is a little bit. This is
now with the Ilkon era, everyone's basically Clan Tech. So
yeah. This is completely off topic, but you heard Trump say, "Well, when the Prime Minister of Japan's like, why didn't you tell us about the attack in Iran?" It's like, well, we thought it'd be neat to take a page out of your book and do a surprise attack.
Did he say that?
Yeah, and it was like you guys know all about surprise attacks. And Japan, when Trump joked about it, they just had a sigh of relief, like "Yay!" We could joke about it now. And now the Japanese Twitter is just off the chain. It's all about the American South. They all love barbecuing and freaking shooting guns, and they want to come to America and barbecue and shoot guns.
Well, hell, that's what I like doing. So I
Yeah, they say
can't
that
blame them for liking doing it. I mean, it's pretty good.
American Southern culture is peak culture.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if the North really has a culture.
Yeah, they do. Catzel.
No, don't be like that. But I mean, and I'm not trying to be mean to anybody in the North, obviously. I guess Minnesota does or Wisconsin with all that eating that rotten fish, that lutefish.
Oh shit!
You know,
I saw something online that there's this place in Mexico, a resort that has a drinking contest, but you're not allowed to join if you're from like Minnesota and Wisconsin.
because they're like, nah, you guys are already drunks.
And
You know,
like you guys are too good at drinking.
yeah, we don't want you in our competition. You guys are alcoholics. That's kind of hilarious.
Yeah, they're like you guys. We know if you join, you're going to win and drink too much alcohol.
Yeah, that's hilarious. But yeah, maybe I'm biased though, since I'm from the South. But it's just like when I think about the South, I think about all of the things that are unique to the South.
Oh, Japanese people love Texas.
Well, of course, it's part of the South.
Yeah.
Even though they a lot of times don't think they are.
Oh,
You know,
everybody except
a lot of
Austin.
people in Texas think that they're still their own thing, and it's like, nah, guy, you're the South. Sorry.
Yeah, but yeah, they love Florida culture. I saw a video the other day. It was a dude who turned a Sea-Doo jet ski into a motorcycle and was cruising down, the street in Florida.
Yeah, Florida, that makes sense actually.
Yeah.
But okay, so the Japanese people like barbecue. Well, that is good. I like barbecue too.
The Japanese people like America, mostly the South.
Yeah, like I said, I can understand that. I mean, if they ever had to drive through Boston, man, they would hate America.
Yeah, or Philly.
Yeah. No, you know why I hate Boston, right?
Yeah, the one-way fucking tiny ass streets that are.
One way tiny ass streets everywhere. It's like one way streets that lead to other one way streets that are going the other direction. It's like what are you people doing? So I have to take a left or a right. I can't go straight because the straight street is one way coming at me. And
Yeah.
I'm it's like
Philadelphia is the
who
same
invented
way.
this shit?
Philadelphia is the same way because it's like such an old city. And, Boston, Philadelphia, most of their roads were meant for wagons.
Oh yeah, especially down in you get into like Southie and that area, and
Yeah.
it's just like
And they're not meant for semi trucks hauling a 53-foot trailer.
yeah, you would know. You get into Southie, and not only is the street narrow as shit, but everybody's parked on the curb.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, how am I going to get down the street without, taking some guy's, side view mirror off? So got about 7 minutes left on the stream, bro.
Yeah, I'm going to stick it out with you because
I'm glad you joined for the last 7 minutes. I was just talking a lot of shit about Bautech. I was saying that when I sit down across from you at the table, I'm going to quote Pinhead.
One of us.
No, Pinhead.
Oh.
Your suffering will be legendary even in hell. That's right.
I'm going to quote Bruce Lee. Hiya, cha. Oh.
Boy, I'm going to look across the table and see that Marauder 3R and just be like,
You're not gonna see no Marauder.
I'll be like, that's my bitch right there.
You're not gonna see no Marauder.
You might, but my Marauder will be the Merrick version.
I'm
Janet's
not.
back. Janet, we missed you. We're just
Janet,
Janet, we unless you want to talk about some other thing for a few minutes, we were just talking shit about Baltech. We were shit
I'm
talking each other about how bad I'm going to whip his ass at Baltech.
no, because
Not the most
I'm gonna
interesting
be
topic, but hey,
I'm gonna be using my uh, Dakota's Combine Warhammer, my Whammer,
the whammer.
Great Mac.
All right.
I'm gonna be using catapult. Yep, and
Well, I mean, you know,
I'm gonna be using a fire javelin and a jitter. Are you there?
Max. I mean, having a missile boat. I'm here.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm gonna have the two light scout mechs for indirect fire.
That's what I said. That's what I was saying. I was like saying that only makes sense because you can always hide your catapult behind a hill somewhere and just indirect fire those LRMs all day, you know,
Yep.
until my grasshopper jumps across the board and finds your catapult and makes it my bitch.
After it deals with the damn Warhammer.
Because I'll be like, look at this guy. I'll
I
be like,
called him earlier and he didn't answer.
well, he's probably doing something.
Yeah,
He's probably out in the desert burying a dead hooker.
he was streaming.
Was he? If I'd known that, I'd have went over and joined his stream.
He was doing the morning retro bait stream.
Oh yeah, I'd have went over there and been the biggest retrobate. But anyway, sorry about that, Shadow. If I'd known you were streaming, homie, I wouldn't have streamed. I'd have just joined you.
But you use the Warhammer to protect the catapult until you're out of LRM ammo.
Yeah, I don't. Okay, you know what? We're just talking shit, and everything we're saying is just freaking BattleTech theory, right? The only way to prove it is to prove it.
Yeah, well, I love playing Warhammer 40K. And I love Warhammer 30K. And I love Warhammer Fantasy and
Well, the
Frost
only
Grave and all
Warhammer
those,
game I'm playing these days is Legion Imperialis
all the other like Frost Grave
and
games and
Titan
stuff
Legion.
like that. I love all of that, but I would rather play Battletech.
Hey, look at all those Titans.
Yeah.
And there's even one way up top. Look at that bastard.
Yeah, you didn't get rid of my elf type, did you?
I think I did sell it. Yeah,
That was
along
the
with all
one.
your elves.
I told you that was the one I didn't want you to sell.
Yeah, you did. I sold it. I told you I'm getting rid of all of it. All of it. You and I are never playing that shit again. Yeah, I see you faking. The elder knight is up on top of the damn dresser.
Good.
I kept it.
Good. Especially we're going to be playing Titan Legion.
No, dude, that can't play in Titan Legion. You got to use stuff like these.
Yeah, you can use the little ones and I use my big one.
Shut up.
No, it'll still be the same thing. It'll just be bigger than yours.
No, but hopefully one day Games Workshop pulls their head out of their ass and actually adds like Eldar and Orcs to the game.
Yeah, I can't believe they didn't add Stompas.
And they haven't, to my knowledge, added the Primarchs either. So I can field a whole army of like Blood Angels, but I can't take the Primarch.
Yeah, you didn't
That's kind of weird, you know?
Yeah, you didn't get rid of your Sanguinius.
Oh no, no, I can't get rid of the Sanguinius. That was a present from Pops.
Ever.
Yeah, that can never go anywhere. That gotta stay. Shadow, What were you doing on your stream today?
Talking a bunch of smack.
Was he?
I don't know.
Well, I know that Vic is not super happy with me because I chickened out when it come to going to Minneapolis.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Um, I can't go anywhere alone.
No.
That's basically just how it is. I can't go anywhere alone,
And I really can't go anywhere.
and you can't go anywhere.
I was
And
talking to mom yesterday, and I was like, I'd like to come up there for Easter. And she's like, yeah, I know, but I don't want you to because you get up here, you're not close enough to a hospital, something could happen. She's like, I don't want you driving, especially an hour and a half down 27 through the
27,
mountains.
okay.
You're like,
You just gotta watch out for the falling boulders. You'll be fine.
well, you drove down 27 through the town I live in. You know how curvy and mountainy that road is.
Yeah, it's called living in the mountains.
Yeah,
So
but
what's up with you, Shadow? What were you doing?
mom don't want me driving it by myself.
I heard that. Now I'm talking to Shadow.
You know what?
Every morning I do a 1 hour show at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, just goofing off like you guys are doing
Dude,
here
that's
now.
like 6 a.m.
For you, maybe, but for me, it's 9 a.m. Right after the boy goes to school. Just hang out for an hour and sometimes a little more.
No wonder I never see it.
It's 12
It,
o'clock. It's 12 o'clock for us, bro.
Oh, so if it's noon every day at noon, maybe I should start showing up. Ripping
that
it
would be
in.
cool. You're always welcome.
I know.
This morning we were talking about the Amber Diceless role playing game and how much I love it and how
I love it
awesome it
too.
is. Um, because I just found a, a later edition of it, which is not Amber, but it uses the diceless rules, and you play the same kind of super powerful characters um,
When
without
we
the
played
baggage
it,
of Amber.
we had to bid.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It does the same
Like
thing.
you
You,
have to have all the players there, and you take
yep,
turns bidding for like magic and fighting, and whoever has
essentially,
the highest rating will always win against somebody with a
yep,
lower rating. But you
absolutely,
can do
absolutely.
things to make your rating a little better against someone with a higher rating.
Through actual role playing,
Yeah,
you can use trickery and subterfuge and the environment and magic items and things like that to one up someone who's better than you. Just like in any other RPG, just you gotta role play. You gotta say I do this and I not just like through strategy, but through uh, you know real hardcore role playing
right.
uh, because there's so little mechanics that it leaves more room for talking and figuring things out and negotiating and
Like the DM can say, since you did all this stuff, I'm going to give you a bonus to your whatever.
If speaking of Amber,
kind
if
of
any of y'all like use Audible, you can get all the Amber books for like under $5 for each one of them on Audible.
Yeah.
nice. I've actually got digital recordings of Roger Zelazny actually narrating them, and since he was
Yeah, I'm a buddy of Roger Zelazny. I have all kinds of cool stuff from you can now, but
I've also
Uh,
Audible has got a massive sale going on with like 80 some percent off everything.
oh, I might
that's
have to
cool.
look at it. I mean, I've only ever read one Amber book,
They're great.
They're yeah they're
and
he was such a phenomenal writer and he was so funny but it was kind of like a little bit of a dry humor at times. Sometimes it was
well,
it
you
was
know the Amber book I read. I talked to you about it.
Nine
It's the one
Princes.
where the guy fought in World War I, and he is on Earth.
Yep, that's the first
And
one, the Nine Princes.
yeah, that one was pretty good. I thought, yeah, that's pretty good stuff right there. But
It only
They
get
only get better.
yeah, thank you.
huh? Maybe
I've,
I
I've
need to.
I've read like most of them when I was on the truck. I think I read all of them while I was driving, and I highly enjoyed every one of them.
Well,
It's fun because it's like there's a big mystery going on that you're constantly trying to you know figure out, and the dialogue between the characters, there's a bunch of characters, but you instantly can like feel the personality of the character with the way he writes them, and they're sort of archetypal characters. There's the strong one, there's the sneaky one, there's the
well, that's like the role playing game.
And there's two
right.
different patterns: the broken pattern and the normal pattern.
Well, when I played Amber, I don't remember if you were there, but it was with Brian Glenn.
No, I wasn't there.
And I played a guy that was half Amberite, half Chaosite.
Mhm.
Yes.
And I bid heavy for magic, and I
Psyche.
bid heavy for the one that allows you to summon people through tarot cards.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's
That's
not
But
a bid, that's just the
basically,
power.
yeah.
huh?
That's not a bid. The only thing you bid on are the four stats.
Yeah. And
Everything else you can just buy if you have enough points, and if you spend too
what I
many in the
know is my
auction.
character was the best magician of the players. Like I could do crazy shit, like create my own shadow and then kick everyone out of it. And I could
That's
summon
the
people with tarot cards, but I couldn't fight that good. If somebody jumped me, they'd probably beat my ass.
Well, that's the trick in it, staying out of combat and constantly talking your way, out of situations. There's a lot of times where the main character will bump into an opponent or a thing, and he'll talk his way out instead of fight. He's a good fighter, but he didn't win that auction. He if he won any of the auctions, it was endurance, so he could heal better and undergo and withstand torture and extreme stress versus being the best wizard or being the best sword fighter or being the best uh, tactician or being the best melee fighter. He was
Yeah,
just there to
in
freaking
our
endure the
game,
shit.
in the game I played, we were all cousins,
That's the way
but
it
it
should
didn't
be.
mean that we liked each other at all.
Oh
Oh no,
no,
no, no.
they're all
And
related in the books, and they really none of them like each other at all. And
but I
even
managed to work a deal out with a couple of them so that we did some things together.
That's the whole idea is, even though, because like in the basic Amber, everybody wants to be the king because the dad is gone and they need a new king, and everybody's like trying to jockey for position of the throne, and so alliances will form. It's like, okay, you're the strongest guy for the position, so we'll back you, and if we back you, we get this province for backing you, kind of thing. And it's very political and very Machiavellian. Roger was a big uh, student of things like that, especially Jacobean literature, which is just full of that sort of thing. And it makes for a more kind of a classier game in a way, because you don't muddle around with the fighting orcs and kobolds. You're trying to build an empire, and like you said, you can spend a couple of points and own an entire world. It's your world. They love you there. They're waiting for you to come back, and when you get there, they got your pipe and slippers waiting, and
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 there's
they'll
no rolling for perception, which is great.
Yeah, my
yeah.
world or dimension was just I had like a big library that had like, floor to ceiling library shelves full of ancient books. And
Mhm.
there was a door on each wall. And if you went through that door, it was the same room
Ah,
forever,
a tesseract.
forever.
Nice.
So no matter
One
where
of the
you went, you
famous.
were always in that room, really. And the other thing was my character, and this could have been me not playing the game right. I didn't care about being the king.
There are many people who don't. That they know they can't. While they may get the throne, they know they couldn't keep it.
Yeah,
So
there's
they
no way I could keep it because already being half chaosite, the pureblood Amberites were like, F you right in the A.
Mhm,
We don't
mhm.
trust you for nothing.
No, but
And
you'd make a great ambassador. You'd make a
so
great ambassador.
that's why I had to have friends because I ended up having to go to talk to the full chaosites, one of which was my mother about some alliance or ceasefire or some shit.
Hmm.
And I had to make a deal with two of the other players and be like, look, I'll help you out in the future any way I can with magic or if you need somebody to support you for something. But I need you guys to have my back when I go do this thing. And they agreed. And one of them was the guy that was the best fighter. So you had the best mage and the best fighter, and the other dude, I don't know what he was the best at. But we all went into the chaosite realm to try to get a ceasefire or something because they'd been trying to kill one of the other players. Like a lot of assassination type shit was going on.
Exactly.
Yep.
One of the things I love about it the most is it allows you to play at the level you aspire to at the beginning of most role playing games. Where you're the leader or the king or the duke or the big, the big guy that you rarely actually get to play in your basic fantasy games because you're going to die before you get there, or the game's going to fall apart, or a bunch of things. Here you can start out pretty powerful, but you can still get your ass handed to you in the first game. You know, literally one of the other players can just shank you, or you can bump into some chaos monster and it rip you a new one because you just ventured into the wrong area, and at the
Yeah,
same time,
because you have amber and then you have like an infinite number of shadows of amber, right?
yeah,
And like
exactly,
earth is
and
one of them.
all the alternate realities are in between Amber and Chaos. One of the famous ones, character Random, his favorite world is actually like a sci-fi high-tech world with spaceships where he goes to play jazz music and fly his little glider when he's whatever. And since your characters are immortal, you've spent hundreds or thousands of years exploring different dimensions and finding little hidey holes throughout the multiverse where you can go chill out and do cool shit, or you can watch the War of 1812 over and over and over again to learn how to fight that way, or you can go to Mars or whatever. The, the
I
sky's the
wish
limit.
I'd thought about that because if I were playing Amber now and I was playing the mage type guy, I think I would like to go to a shadow and like talk to Newton, Isaac Newton, like, or maybe become friends with Benjamin Franklin and join the Hellfire Club, see what the hell that's all about.
Hang out with Tesla or Da Vinci or Elon
Yeah,
Musk.
I would be definitely interested in those old hardcore cool science type guys and artists and stuff.
Einstein. You can go hang out with Einstein for a while.
Yeah,
You
And you
know,
can hang
that
out
would
with
be
Jesus
good.
if you want to.
That would be good.
absolutely, absolutely. Uh,
Well, I mean, you're selling me. If you ever run a game of Amber, let me know.
Yeah, me too.
I want to so bad, but it's just
It's a
whenever we
pain
play
in the
online,
ass. And what killed our game is if somebody misses games, it's like because to play a game of Amber, the people playing have to be determined to show up.
yes, yes.
Because the second they start not showing up, then everything comes undone.
The other thing is some players find it, they just want to, adventure game, or just go in, kick down the doors, kill the monsters, take the stuff, and get more powerful that way. When you can start off more powerful, when you make your first character, you can make a character more powerful than any character you've ever made with whatever cool magic items you want and your own world and all this great shit. And then people think, oh, and now we're just going to sit around and talk to each other for hours and hours and hours.
Thank
Yeah,
you, bro.
yeah, that's
Well, I
literally
mean,
what you're going to do in
that's
a lot of
what we
cases.
do in Hyperborea. I mean, when every now and then they get into fights, but most of our game night is the characters discussing shit or dealing with NPCs or sometimes even talking to monsters that they beat the
Hey,
shit
Janet.
out
Hey,
of.
Dean.
And, you know,
Yeah,
it's
I like heavy role playing games.
yeah. Everyone at my
Same
table
here.
is pretty much into the heavy role playing. You know, like
I deal with a lot of people that I don't know in person. I've never met,
right,
and with a limited time, a lot of times online games are like 2.5, 3 hours, maybe four if you're lucky, and you might not get a lot. You might not seem like you get a lot done, but a session where you're working out a deal with one of your siblings or somebody else to get something done, it can be really rewarding when you're really into that character and you're playing as this character with all this stuff going on in your head that you could be doing, but you gotta manipulate the conversation so that you get what you want, they think they get what they want, and you walk out ahead. Dean, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Like I said, I was intended to come on your show, but apparently my couch has different idea.
Dude, I'm gonna bounce, brother, because I'm past it. I'm falling asleep.
all right,
Okay, have a good
Take
one.
care, Hungar. I will see you tomorrow.
Yeah, good to see you guys. Love you, brother.
love you.
I actually didn't know you'd played Amber.
I have tried Amber. I don't think. I only think like you played 2 sessions. The group I was with, and that thing didn't happen in my game. It was just I just read how the rules worked and so forth. And it's like, yeah, you quickly learn if your GM has favorites.
Yeah, yeah. Or it can seem that way, if they take the spotlight for a while. The DM's like, yeah, this is cool because I don't have to do that much. You guys just sit and you know scheme amongst each other, and I just take notes and use any good ideas, and then when you guys go somewhere and do something, I can throw something crazy at you. Uh, but
Yeah.
it's mostly in the descriptions, of describing, like weird new worlds and places that you might go, or crazy. There's one book where Zelazny is in the middle, not Zelazny, but the main character, Merlin, actually is in this really crazy conversation with a Sphinx, and the Sphinx has got this, quirky personality that you wouldn't expect a Sphinx to have, let alone for there to be a Sphinx and it to be, kind of an asshat. But
Yeah.
you can, throw in things that you couldn't get away with in a more defined genre, where in a sci-fi game, you're not going to find this, and in a fantasy game you're not going to find that, but in an Amber or the new game, uh, the art is great because like you've got character. There's a character who's got a musket, I think, in his shoulder holster, and behind him is a mech. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, fucking cool.
I know a guy or two who would go like that.
See,
Mhm.
the thing though, like I was saying earlier though, is Amber as a role playing game is definitely an expert level role playing game,
It is.
Oh, yeah.
and you need the players to be dedicated to the game, or it's not going to work.
No.
And that's the story of our gaming. I mean, it went good for a while, but then one player, and it wasn't because he was doing bad. He was doing great, but he just stopped showing up.
Life,
And
it happened.
threw everything out of whack.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, for us it was just like we really realized it wasn't for us.
Yeah,
It takes the right group. It takes the right group. It takes, because if you think about it, back in the day when it came out, all of us were a lot younger and not ready for that. And as we grow and mature, we've learned that literally the difference between adventure gaming and role playing. And I still play what I call adventure games. I run some.
Yeah.
Okay, because the players just either don't want to, don't know how, think they are, or just want to get into the action. I totally
Yeah,
get all
I
that.
agree that I'm fully on board if people want to play D&D as an adventure game.
We don't
I
have that
run
much.
Hyperborea, and it's heavy into the role play, but at the end of the day, it is an adventure game. I mean,
Right,
you got a character and you go around fighting shit.
and there is absolutely nothing wrong with that if everybody in the session zero social contract phase of the game prep, you guys all go into it with the same desires. You
That's
bring one or two
shadow.
hard role players into an adventure game, and you got people rolling their eyes and getting pissed off. I don't want to. Enough already. Let's go fight and kill some monsters. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah,
Clock's ticking. We only got an hour and a half.
that reminds me. So you guys talked about how you like role play earlier. Me too, a lot. I also have players. What do you call it? Who really likes it? But I also have players where I have told them you are not allowed to make any plans out of character because you guys will spend hours doing it if I don't say anything.
Right.
But you guys are paranoid as fuck. So you need
That's
that
the
time
thing. I
blocking.
need to. Oh my god, I'm getting so sick of that. I'm getting ready to do a video on it. Us old gamers, we've seen so much and we've been through
Yeah.
so many things, and we expect some shit around every door. I don't even put traps on doors anymore. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
one, it's stupid. You put traps on the chest, not the door, unless it's a vault. And two, nobody did that. Okay,
Yeah.
that's a purely made up thing, and the mechanical engineering required to put to create some of the traps.
Yeah, usually the only trap I put on doors, which my players really hate, is I just put a bell and a string.
I put a needle trap on a
That's a good
door,
one.
and the Amazon assassin got whacked by it last week. If she hadn't had a potion of antidote on her, she'd be dead right now.
So you say she got nailed. Gotcha.
Yeah, she pushed the button. She found the button, which was hidden, and she pushed the button in, but she never looked for traps, and the needle was there. So when she pushed the button in, she tapped that needle, and it had deadly poison.
That is a pretty good trap, yeah.
But then they never went into the room anyway. They opened the door.
If you think about it, you'd literally have to build the entire complex around some of the traps. There's a pit trap. Okay, well, the first thing you're doing is digging the tunnel down, isn't it? In stone block traps, what's holding that up that doesn't rot or rust over the years that it's been waiting to fall on somebody?
That's interesting that you bring that up, because in AD&D, the actual rule books, every time a player encounters a trap, there's like a percentile score that it won't even work.
It only works 1 in 6 times. Yeah.
Because it's old, it's rusted, it's effed up. Exactly what you said. That's covered in AD&D.
I don't remember that, but that's why I just never put that many in to begin with, because you put them on the on the chest. That's and they got to be small, something that makes sense. Instead of building this giant freaking elaborate, ridiculous trap that only some super genius engineer could even come up with, let alone make a reality.
Well, that's why the players in my game, who are currently exploring a 2,000-year-old Atlantean tomb, are being pretty nervous, because the Atlanteans 2,000 years before the current era of Hyperborea were like traveler level technology. So there's some crazy shit in there, like doors that are made out of metal that have latches and knobs, and they don't know what shit is. And one of the players found an actual laser pistol that, but they think it's a wand. They call it a wand, but it shoots like a crimson bolt of lightning at whatever you point it at.
So, James, I have a fun idea when you said, there is an advanced traveler. The players, they think they're going through a puzzle, like delivering things to places, but it's actually just bureaucracy.
Right. No, I mean,
I know they would hate it, but it's still funny as an
yeah,
idea.
like the one adventure when they get trapped on a plant and they have to go through all the bureaucracy to get out. And the number
Wasn't that
one
wasn't that
skill for
a
that
Dragon
game,
magazine article?
it was in one of the books, and the number one skill to have is like admin.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I hate that shit. I fucking hate it. I don't want
And
to do it
every
in the real world.
administrator sends you to another administrator unless you make your admin check or some shit. You could spend like hours in game trying, like hours of real time playing a game where you're just trying to get off the planet.
Yeah, I hate that shit.
Yeah. No. I think I told you, Dean Powell, in Hyperborea, the Atlanteans worship Cthulhu, the dreaming god under the ocean.
Yeah.
And they did something and pissed him off. So he ripped their island under the ocean with him. But a part of it, one of the opposing great old ones took part of Atlantis and put it in Hyperborea. The problem is the Atlanteans that survived this apocalypse, they lost all their technology. But other people know that if you can find Atlantean ruins and stuff, there could be some kind of Atlantean magic, as they would call it, even though it's technology. Because when Atlantis got wrecked, they had nuclear power and the whole 9 yards. But they pissed Cthulhu off. And then I think the god that saved them was like Yog-Sothoth, the god of time and portals and stuff. Saved some of them. But I mean, it's like Hyboria. The history is just this constant change of cataclysms where like this continent sinks, that continent sinks, this thing happens, this empire rises and then dies. And
I wonder
except
how many
in
times
Hyperborea, they end up on that freaking floating hex.
Yeah.
So the player characters, in theory, can run into Conan of Cimmeria and H.P. Lovecraft in the same town. Just assuming that one of the great old ones or whatever snatched them through time.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it is.
I wonder if they cured Howard's syphilis.
A cure spell would probably work, wouldn't it? Cure
no,
disease?
I meant more like when he got, if he got snatched. Like, did they cure
Yeah, I'm
syphilis?
saying if he got snatched through time to Hyperborea,
I didn't know he had
cure
that.
disease would take care of that.
This is the first I've ever heard that.
Didn't Howard die of syphilis or?
No, he died of being very poor.
Okay, who was singing us then?
He only was ever with one.
Oh, you're thinking Edgar Allan Poe.
He was only ever with one woman in his whole life, and whether or not they actually managed to consummate the wedding is up to debate.
Yeah.
I that's actually, I heard she literally said he was a very adequate lover.
Well, there you go there. But she moved to Chicago, and he could not be drugged away from his beloved Rhode Island. So, and at the time they were living in New York, and he absolutely hated it.
Okay, I was apparently thinking someone called Howard Hughes.
Oh, well.
Who had the spinal syphilis or neurosyphilis.
Yeah, Edgar Allan Poe died of a brain lesion from drinking absinthe. That was actually aged in wormwood barrels, so it had wood grain alcohol in it. And he drank, but a lot of those poets and shit from way back in the day went crazy from drinking absinthe. They called it chasing the green fairy.
Yeah.
Because I guess it hallucinations and it messed you up really bad.
Yeah.
You can still get it today, but it's not aged in the wormwood barrels.
From what I remember, the issue was basically so wormwood is fine. Yes, it can be poisonous depending on how it's used.
Right.
But it's fine, and it's also an anti. What do you call it?
Inflammatory.
Well, that's too, but I think more like anti-parasitical. There we go. But the problem with the what do you call it? With the Green Muse was basically it wasn't like stable like DMT, not DMT, like acid or something like that. It was more like directly actually doing damage. Whereas the acid, that's more like if you use too much. Also, don't do acid.
Yeah.
And
Don't do
I
drugs,
heard,
stay
but I
sober.
don't know if this is true because this is all hearsay, as far as I know, that some people who drink absinthe would actually put opium in it
Yeah,
or
that
some
makes
kind
sense.
of narcotic, in addition to the fact that it's already full of wormwood and every other thing, you know.
Yeah.
So those were, you know, wild times, wild times. So that's what I heard Edgar Allan Poe died from. He had a brain lesion from this stuff eating a whole. Because wood grain alcohol, how you can tell if someone died from drinking wood grain alcohol
They,
is their brain will have no wrinkles.
they literally have a smooth brain.
Yeah, it will literally cause you to have a smooth brain, which is, of course, deadly. And I know this because there was this Irish guy that killed his wife by wanting to have a drink with her, and he started with vodka, but after she started, you know, getting used to the vodka, you know, after a couple shots when it don't burn so much, he started slipping her freaking wood grain alcohol.
Uh,
And she had a fever for like 2 days and then died. And when they did the autopsy, her brain was just. And they ended up catching that dude in America. He had fled Ireland to America.
makes sense. Other Irish criminal had done that also recently.
Right. So.
But yeah, I will admit, when you said an Irishman tried to kill his wife, or sorry, how did he phrase it again?
By drinking?
Oh yeah, okay. I was about to ask. Okay, you will have to be a little more specific.
Right. It's like, well, all he had to do really is just wait, right? It's going to happen
Yeah.
eventually. But yeah,
Funny
this was
thing.
a thing I saw on a show, and I was like, that's a messed up way to.
Oh yeah.
And then, you know, they explained how the wood grain poison worked. And I guess it's not like it wasn't an uncommon thing, like way back in the day before science when we could figure
Yeah.
shit out, to like
I
slip
mean,
people, you know, like wood grain alcohol or the green crystals that form on copper, arsenic. Because you can get arsenic by scraping it off of old copper pipes.
yeah.
So, you know, and arsenic was known as the wife's weapon or some shit. Because I guess so many women poison their husbands with arsenic.
Yeah.
Because
And,
you do it a
So many
little at
women
a time
poison their
in
husbands,
strong
period.
flavored food, like chocolate cake or something really strong flavored. And by the time he hits that limit where it kills him, you know, no one knows. You know, it's like if you're, I mean, if you're in like the medieval ages, no one would know.
yeah.
And so yeah, heaven only knows how many people from like the ancient times got arsenic to death. You know, there's no way for us to know.
At least one.
Well, Socrates got nightshade, didn't he?
Yeah. He, if I remember, wasn't that he the guy who got the choice of like either getting disemboweled or drinking poison?
Yes. The Greeks were mad at him because every student he raised turned into a warmongering tyrant. And they're like, basically, they're like, we need to kill this guy because all of his male students grow up to become Alexander the Great or something like that. And they're like, yeah, you can drink the poison or, you know. But the Greeks had another really bad punishment where they would grease a cat up and shove it up your backside. Like, there's a guy on YouTube called Leather Apron, and he discusses how people like to portray the Greeks as having been a lot of homosexuals, right? But in
Yeah, no, that's not
reality,
true.
no. they actually had special punishments for pederasty and homosexuality. But then in some cities, it was a little bit more accepted than in other cities. But in Athens, yeah, they'd grease a cat and shove it up your behind if they caught you being a pederast. That shit was not allowed. It was considered super dishonorable. So,
Wow.
yeah, this whole idea that Greece was like some kind of utopia for gay dudes, totally a lie. It was not, nor was Rome. The Romans did not look highly favorably on that kind of
Yeah,
bullshit.
people like to say what you call about Rome. They're like, oh no, you are only gay if you were the submissive or the bottom. But
Right.
there is a lot of speeches about corrupting the youth or corrupting, so forth. So no, they did not like what do you call it,
No.
corruptors either. There's just that different punishment and different wording for each.
Right. Well, the Romans were pretty conservative. That's why they hated Carthage. The first Romans that ever went to Carthage, when they saw the Carthaginians chucking babies into the altar, they're like, F these guys. They need to go. And then they spent like 100 years making sure it happened. Because one thing the Romans never really did, unless you count the gladiatorial stuff, is human sacrifice. That wasn't really their gig, you know. They would sacrifice like a bull to Zeus every now and then, or Jupiter, but yeah, they didn't do a lot of human sacrifice type stuff.
And from what I understand, they kind of tolerated sacrificing adults. It's just what do you call it? No children.
Right. They were an interesting culture. Well, it's kind of like the Celts. The Celts would do sacrifices, but the sacrifice had to be willing. And then they would tie them up, bash the skull in, and then chuck the warrior in a bog. Because they believed that it's not a sacrifice if it's not something valuable. So a lot of times they would ask for one of their better warriors to volunteer for the sacrifice. And then you had the idea of the Corn King, where they'd spend a whole year like giving this guy everything he ever wanted, women, wine, food, whatever. But at the end of that year, he got sacrificed so that the harvest would be good. And then the last one was sacrificing 1 in 10 children born in a year to Crom. Because, but St. Patrick put an end to all that shit. Yeah, he rolled in and was like, we're not doing any of this anymore. But yeah, it's a wild thing. Human sacrifice has been with humans since humans.
Yeah. St. Patrick, was that the guy who drove out the snakes?
Yeah, but that's actually an allegory.
Oh, yeah. I was about to ask.
Druids used to carry serpents.
Who?
The ancient Druids in Ireland carried serpents because the serpent is a totem of wisdom, and the Irish used animals as totems. So salmon is for wisdom, serpent's wisdom, the stag is for health and fertility. The hound is, so like how I've got that tattoo here, and it's like all the knot work around the stag. This comes from when I thought I was Irish, and the stag represents health and hardiness and all that. Then later I found out I'm not Irish at all, really 4%. So when St. Patrick drove the serpents out, what it means is he put an end to Druidism.
Yeah.
And then he supposedly struck the altar of Crom and made it sink into the ground straight to hell. So that's why no one can find the idol to Crom, because, he got rid of that. And then he went to the High King of the Irish, and the guy got hung up on the Trinity, as you do. And that's when St. Patrick used a 3-leaf shamrock and explained the Trinity by saying, 3 but 1. And then that king converted.
Yeah.
So that's why the shamrock's such a big deal with Irish Christians. And for some reason, the Aryan Brotherhood, but, whatever.
I don't know much about them. I just know ironically enough, I know they're very racist, but they're not actually white nationalists in the sense that like they want white unity. They're just like a criminal gang by now.
Well, I mean, one of the two guys that founded the Aryan Brotherhood was Jewish.
Oh yeah.
And what actually went down there, see, I know about this a little bit, but then again, I've had lots of relatives who went to prison. Um, how it started was basically the white dudes were sick and tired of being abused
Yeah.
by the other guys because there are always more of them. So they all got together and they basically said, look, here's how we stop this. If anyone so much as looks at you cross-eyed, kill them.
Hmm.
And then they started like the swastikas and shit. That's kind of like for show.
Hmm.
Like half of them are just white guys. They don't give a shit about National Socialism,
Yeah.
but they'll mark themselves up so that everyone else in the general population knows this is not the guy to F with, because that's their motto. Like, if somebody messes with you and you're in the Brotherhood, they have to die. You know what I mean? But will they trade drugs and shit with the other gangs all day?
Yeah.
All day long. All day long. They'll trade
And
all
that
kinds.
is a change that apparently happened later, which yeah. But then again,
And-
it's a prison.
The sad thing is these people who get on TV in America and they talk about, you know, the high rate of white supremacy type crime, they're counting the prisons.
Yeah.
Because if there is white supremacist crime going on, 99% of it's going on in the penitentiary. You know?
Yeah.
It's not happening out here in the middle of town. Nobody, you know. But
Nobody's going to put
pretty
up with that
much,
shit.
what?
Nobody's going to put up with that shit. And the worst part is the prison system and the guards themselves are encouraged to segregate people like that and get them to behave the way they do because it makes their job easier. And when they come out, they can't do anything but go back in.
When I went to jail, I sat down the first morning to eat my breakfast, and this black dude come up to me, and I guess he could tell I wasn't like a long timer, you know. And he leant down and he said, "Hey, bud, you eat at that table." I was like, "What?" And he's like, "The white guys eat over there." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And I picked my tray up and went over there, and sure as shit, all the white guys sat at that table with me, and all the black guys sat at the other table. And that's just in jail. You know what I mean? It's like super segregated, you know. And you know what really pissed me off about going to jail?
Besides going to jail,
Well, going to jail sucks, but there's things about going to jail that suck extra hard, right? The biggest meanest
sodomy?
dude there gets to no, there wasn't any of that, but I bet that would be terrible.
Yeah.
The biggest meanest guy there gets to hold the remote.
Oh
And
yeah.
all they wanted to watch every day
Cops.
from the time we could watch TV to the time they put the lights out was cops.
So I said,
Freaking nonstop. And I'm just sitting there, bad boys, what you gonna do? And I'm just like, what the fuck is, you're in jail. Why would you want to watch this? Maybe they're hoping to catch themselves on TV. I don't
That's
get
funny,
it.
but I understand your lamentation.
Yeah, I don't get it, but the only time all the races kind of came together is when the priest came in, and it was like, all right, who's religious, who's a Christian? The priest will be in at this time, and then everybody who would be there, and he gave us all a little Bible. Is just the New Testament. It wasn't the Old Testament, but it was awesome because then it gave me something to read.
Yeah.
Because when you're in prison and you got no access to any entertainment and you're just laying in your bunk listening to different people from different gangs threaten to kill each other and shit,
Yeah.
it gets boring, you know? It's
Yeah,
like,
you know what I found something out a while ago. There are some jails or prisons or what have you. You're not allowed to have books. You're not allowed to
not
read.
even a Bible, huh?
No. Which to me is like so unbelievably evil. I can't even put it into words.
Yeah, I don't care for that either. I'll be perfectly honest with you, Shadow. I'm not a fan of that idea that somebody can't have a book. I mean, but yeah, basically,
because they want you to um, be so brain dead and uh, desirous of doing whatever it is you're told, in the hopes that something will get better, and they're training you to just be cattle.
well, I mean, I will only have sympathy depending on what the guy's in there for.
It doesn't matter. A
Because I
book.
mean, if he's a chomo or something, I have no sympathy for him. He can get ran through a freaking meat grinder as far as I care.
Not even a Bible.
No, I think I'd give him a Bible though, and let him
That's
think
kind of my
about what
point.
he did before
The bare
ran through the
minimum.
wood chipper.
Yeah.
That's it's taking it out of
No, I
taking
changed
it
my
in
mind. He
strips.
gets a Bible. Hopefully, he can repent, but he's still going into the wood chipper though.
Oh
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
Oh yeah. So my religious take on this is redemption is a thing, but so is the law. The
Right,
Ten Commandments weren't repealed.
right. Well, the thing that okay, we're verging into territory most people don't like, but it's okay because no one's watching really. Um,
People watch this. They don't watch my show. I
sometimes,
just
sometimes, but and yet I get 2,000 views on my shorts, and then I get like
What are you
60
doing hanging
views
your
on an
shorts out?
actual video.
Oh,
You know what I mean? Oh, listen to you. No, these people who say that God is all forgiving, what they don't seem to understand is in order to be good, God has to be just. And in order to be just, there has to be justice, which means punishment. Because if God lets sinful people get away with just whatever they want, then what's the point of anything? You see what I
well,
mean?
that's
That's not
the
good.
wages of sin are death, but it's not eternal damnation.
Right. But that's what I always say when people are like, I thought you're supposed to turn the other cheek and be this way and that way and whatever. And I'm like, look, nothing in the Bible says that if you do evil shit, you shouldn't be punished. As a matter of fact, it says you should. So, but
You might.
that's the whole deal with these, you know, uh, pisses me off so bad when they did Congress did this. They had someone in Congress they're talking to, and they're like, "So you're a pastor?" Is a woman. She's like, "Yeah, I'm a pastor." I'm like, just like, no.
I agree.
It's like the Bible is very specific. Women cannot be priests.
Yeah, they can preach like other disciples, but they can't be
They
priest.
cannot be priests. Any church that you're a member of that has a female priest that's openly LGBTQ and has a rainbow flag, run. Because that's pure Satanism right there. And you're going to go to hell for being in that church. But yeah. But yeah, there has to be justice. So, yep, let them pray for forgiveness. And if God forgives them, that's between them and God. But
Yeah, because
they're still
if you take
going
that
where they're going.
opportunity away,
Yeah.
that's kind of bad.
Yeah, if
Really
you
bad.
made it where they couldn't, that would be on you. But see, here's the thing a lot of people don't know about in their faith, but is kind of a hardcore thing in our faith, is that like, and I've tried to explain this to people. I can never tell you something you're doing that's bad is good or okay. And people are like, why is that? Because the apostles say specifically that if you let your brother wallow in his sin, you become guilty of it. So I can't stop somebody from being a sinner because we all are. But if I don't tell them what they're doing could get them in trouble, then I, again, am guilty myself because I didn't even try. You get what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely.
And that's why when I'm on more like liberal streams, I always say, do not ask me how I feel about stuff if you don't actually want to know. Because I am, you know, I have an obligation to tell you the truth. And you may not want to hear the truth, you know. A lot of people don't. So, and that's on. So yeah, if you're gay or something, keep it to yourself. Don't ask me if I think it's okay, because I'll never say it is. In a million years, I will never say, "Oh yeah, it's fine," because as soon as I do that, now I've effed myself. So anyway, that's a little bit of a rant for me. I'm getting ready to wrap this up, gentlemen. Shadow, I appreciate you joining. Now that I know
My
you
pleasure.
every day at noon, if I'm up at noon, I might start dropping in and at least hanging out in your chat,
I appreciate that.
making
It's
sure
always good to hang out
assholes
with you.
give you a thumbs up.
Right. It's only an hour though. Sometimes maybe hour 15.
I was
But
going
it's-
to end this at 2, and then you showed up. You showed up
Couldn't help it.
literally 3 minutes before I was ending this.
I had no idea. You can always, tell me in the private chat thing. Hey,
Look, now you know. Now you know how much I care. Because
I
I was going
appreciate
to
that.
go do other things, but you and Dean showed up, and I was like, you know what? F it. I haven't hung out with
Go
you.
do your other things. Go do your other things. We'll see each other tomorrow. Dean,
Yeah.
always a pleasure.
Yeah,
James, thank
yeah.
you very
If I'm
much.
up at,
Love
if
you
I'm up
guys.
at noon, I might drop in and see what you're going on about. Peace out. It's good to see you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.